Hey guys, I'm Adam with AMTAC Suppressors. I came out to the range today to answer questions we get quite often about accuracy and point of impact shift from our suppressors. So we're going to shoot a little test down here. At 100 yards, we're going to shoot 3 rounds with the suppressor on, 3 rounds off, 3 rounds on, and 3 rounds off at 4 different targets, and that will answer both of them. So let's get to the shooting. Okay guys, we're all done shooting. Before we get to results, I just want to talk through our platform here so you know what we were working with. This is a blueprinted Remington 700 action with a proof research barrel. It's chambered in 6.5 Creedmoor. We have a Timney Calvin Elite trigger. This is a XLR Industries carbon fiber chassis, and on top is a Vortex Razor HD2 4.5 to 27 scope. On front, of course, I'm running an AMTAC SBR762 suppressor, which is our regular end barrel suppressor. So the results were pretty interesting. Some things we expected, some things we didn't. So this is our first group with the suppressor. A little bit larger than I'd like it to be. I just got done doing load development on this guy, and out of the 50 rounds that I shot load development, my largest 5-shot group was a half minute, and most of them were in the 2s and 3s. So it's a very accurate rifle, but just kind of less than ideal circumstances today. A little windy, a lot of mirage, so the 27 isn't really helping me out a whole lot. But there's our first group, maybe a half minute or so. Then we took off the suppressor and we shot that, which is pretty unimpressive. Then we put the suppressor back on and we shot that. And then we took the suppressor off and we shot that. There's 2 things that we were looking for here. We wanted the group with the suppressor to be the same size or smaller than the group without the suppressor, which it obviously was. We also wanted a minimal impact shift, but more importantly, a consistent shift, which we also got. These 2 groups are just about mirror images of each other. These guys are just on the low edge of the middle circle there, as is the middle shot in these groups. So as for impact shift, basically nothing. But you might be saying to yourself, Adam, you just got done talking about a 1/4 minute rifle and you just shot an 1.5 inch group. Dude, what gives? This is actually the second time we shot this test, because the first time we shot this test, we got this. All right, so here's the results from the first test. Obviously ignore all the holes in the middle. That was from the second where we stapled the target over. But we basically got the same thing. Suppressed group, unsuppressed group, and I thought, oh man, I shot a flyer. Then we shot a suppressed group, and then we shot an unsuppressed group, and I thought, I shot exactly the same flyer. That's really strange. So we talked about it a little bit, and we decided just to reshoot the test, because we didn't want the idiot behind the gun messing up the test, and we didn't want to be saying, hey, I just took a 1.5 minute gun, and by putting a suppressor on it, turn it into a 1/4 minute gun, because that's not the way that it works, and it didn't work with this gun. So we just reshot the test. We basically got the same results. You guys saw what happened here. So we put it back on. Small group, vertical stringing, small group, vertical stringing. we've been sitting back here at the truck for about 20 minutes now trying to figure out why we got this. And the conclusion that we came to is I did all of my load development with the suppressor on the rifle, which is fine. The reason I did that is I always shoot with the suppressor on the rifle. The problem with that is it basically skewed my results because it told me, hey, this rifle likes everything, right? I shot 50 rounds during load development. My largest 5-shot group was a half-minute group. It's really ideal conditions. Could see the target really clearly, so shot a half-minute group. My largest group, my next largest was a 0.4, and everything else is 0.3 and smaller. So I basically just picked the load that had a quarter-minute group and a very small extreme spread, and I called it a day, which is fine because my rifle really likes that with the suppressor, and I always shoot my rifle with a suppressor. But if I shot my rifle without a suppressor, if I was shooting precision matches in a state that didn't allow suppressors, if I was hunting in a state that didn't allow suppressors, whatever the case may be, if I needed to know that, I would do all of that load development testing again without a suppressor to make sure that my load works good with and without, so I didn't have skewed results. So whatever this changes in barrel harmonics does this with the group that it really likes with the suppressor. Now, like I said, that doesn't matter for me because I'm not going to shoot this rifle without a suppressor. But if you are, it's really important that you do it both ways. What this test did tell us, though, is all the other information that we're looking for and the questions that we do get, which is, do suppressors make your rifle less accurate? Obviously not. Suppressors sometimes make rifles more accurate. Most suppressors aren't going to do anything, but there are definitely some suppressors that do make a rifle less accurate. The key thing is you want to buy a very good suppressor. With ours, the accuracy is the thing that we're looking for the most. We turn our entire single piece baffle structure in one operation, which means we drill the bore at the same time we cut the threads. So it's a very concentric suppressor, and it's a very accurate suppressor, as you can see. The other thing you want is a consistent shift or zero shift. So people talk about, this has a zero shift, this has a 1 minute shift, has a minimal shift. If you can have zero shift, that's great. This suppressor on this rifle basically has zero shift, right? Despite the fact that my groups grew, the center of the groups are all in the same spot, right? Just underneath the diamonds. So my groups didn't actually go anywhere, which means that this suppressor on this rifle doesn't have any shift. Now, if the groups went up an inch and right an inch, that's still fine, as long as they do the same thing every single time, because you can dial for that. I would just write down my dope, I'd pull up my knobs, I'd dial to wherever I needed to go, click my knobs back down. I'm shooting the big old Christmas tree reticle in this scope, so I hardly ever dial for anything anyway, so I'm just running on pure holds. So it's really easy to accommodate for a consistent shift. What you don't want is a suppressor that's gonna run in a different place every time you take it off and put it on. That's not something that you can use at any kind of distance. So hopefully this answered some questions for you guys. If you guys have any questions about how we did this test, why we did the method that we did, you want to make fun of me for shooting a 2-minute group with a quarter-minute rifle, leave that stuff up in the comments. And if you have anything else that you'd like to see us test, leave that up as well, and we'll try to get to it.